Hello and welcome to Chess Tech. Today I'm going to be talking about bluffing in chess and why it's important. Um, you know, Bluffing is something which you need to be able to do in certain situations in a game. You need to recognise when your position is lost. If you carry on playing the way you are, you're going to lose, and you need to do something about it. You could create a attack or a sacrifice or something which is just a bluff, but it just looks good. Your opponent is not going to be able to calculate that bluff in time, and hopefully they'll blunder and you'll get something out of the game. And this is very important in blitz and bullet chess and rapid chess. In fact, any game of chess where both sides could be a bit short on time and there just isn't enough time available for your opponent to calculate concrete variation, is where you need to start thinking about bluffing. Especially if you carry on playing the way you are, your opponent is going to beat you. Then you need to think about how you can mix it up by creating some sort of tactical bluff, if you like. It's nothing more than that. And in this game, I just want to use it I think it's a good demonstration of how I'm as black, I'm worse, and then there's a point where I just have to say, I've just got to mix it up a bit and see what happens, because if I carry on playing the way I do, I'm just going to lose. He's got a better position than me, pawns down. So we've got to get into the mindset that it's better to lose and have a chance and complicate things rather than just play on and lose. So let's get into this game. Starts off with d4, knight f6, knight f3, so he's keeping his options opening, doesn't want to play c4 straight away, wants to see what I'm going to do. So I just go for c5 Benoni type structure. He's going to play e3 and keep it relatively sort of passive but solid position. And now he's sort of transposed into a sort of Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation, which is totally fine for both sides. And he's decided to chop off my central pawn, and this position is probably, roughly equal, I'd say. There's no real problems here. Now, he takes my knight. Now, I should really take with my queen, but, I don't want to take with my queen. And this was a blitz game, and for some reason, I was a bit down on time already, so I thought, let's just mix this up a bit. I don't think he's going to really castle queenside. I know he's probably going to castle kingside. He's a stronger player than me, so I'm just going to take it with a g-pawn and see what he does. So he develops his bishop anyway, I develop my bishop, and he castles, so it's great. I've got a nice open g-file, but we've got to make something of it. Now, I've just developed my bishop there, so my plan now is to obviously gang up on the g-file, get my pieces out of the way, and castle queenside, so I can then create some sort of attack. Now, I don't want to exchange queens. That's the reason I dropped my queen back. He wants to exchange queens, so if we go back here, and the reason he wants to exchange queens is once the queens are off, this pawn is weak. Really, most of my mating attacks have disappeared. I haven't got a lot, and I will probably be outplayed, and I would think he will win the game. The threats are over, so it's critical for me to keep my queen in this position. So I drop my queen back, and he brings his queen in. He's hitting my pawn, and he's creating some threats. He's also got the threat of his bishop taking this pawn here. Now, at this point is where I thought I'm going to be squashed here. Now, he's getting very active play, so I need to get my king out of the way. Castle, not ideal having it on an open file here, but at least I'm possibly creating some threats against his king. If I just sit there, I'm going to get squashed. So he decides to snap off the pawn, and it's got a pretty good position. Now at this stage, I thought, you know what, this is just not happening for me today. I'm about to lose another pawn. Very difficult to defend it. I'm going to have to go passive if I want to keep that pawn. I'm just going to get squashed against a high-rated player. So in this position, without obviously looking at the score, have a think and see if you can decide what it is that I played. Now, there are a number of reasonable moves for black here, and none of them actually win outright. I think they just look scarier than they are. And but as I said earlier in this video, the whole point is that in a blitz game or in a game where you have not much time left, especially if your opponent hasn't got much time, which in this position I remember he was down to under a minute, that you need to do something radical, because otherwise you'll just get squashed. So anyway, in this position I played rook takes pawn. Now that looks like a move where, you know, you can't really not take the rook, or else he's going to lose another pawn, or you know. And I'm getting tremendous play now down this file. The bishop's taking the pawn, rooks are going to come across, and also he can't actually take the rook. Well, he can take the rook, but he has to watch out for this discovery here, which wins his queen, which obviously I calculated. But I thought he'd probably just ignore it and you know, consolidate. But he decides to be a bit greedy and just take the rook off, and bang, he just lost his queen. And basically it's pretty much over from here. It's pretty straightforward. He just gets mated. Now I want to go back a few moves. He didn't actually have to. When I took that pawn, he could actually play a rather interesting move, which was just knight e5, which is pretty good and just stops my attack dead, you know. But I guess, you know, it probably seems an easy move to find, but on the face of it, it doesn't actually threaten anything in my position straight away, and he still lost a pawn. And you know, maybe, like I say, in the heat of the moment, he thought, you know, it's just not really doing anything. I've still got his rook there, and I can, you know, it seems like he just basically missed this tactic of the bishop takes pawn check. So yeah. So in this game, really, what I'm just highlighting is the fact that in this position, I've got a lost position, and you know, I could just play some passive move like bring my king out of the way, but instead I just went for a complete bluff, and it worked. Now it's not to say it's going to work every time. So part of the trick, I mean, you could call this a swindle, really. Part of the trick of looking for a swindle or a good opportunity to bluff is all tactics, really. So you know, when the game gets to a critical position and you're down materially and in a lost position, you need to start thinking of any tactics out there that could win you the game, you know. And this one, I was fortunate enough that he fell for it. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video on bluffing, and please leave any comments or questions on YouTube, and if you can find it in YouTube, click that like button. That would be great. Thank you very much.